Welcome to the Kids to Love podcast. And we're excited this week to have Mark Wills joining us. And if you've seen on our social channels, Mark is actually our guest artist at our Denim Diamonds coming up at the end of April. Welcome, Mark. We're excited to have you back to Huntsville. I know you were just down a couple of weeks ago.
I've spent a lot of time in Huntsville recently over the last little bit. Love coming down. Love the event we did just a few weeks ago. And I'm sorry that we were trying to make this work when we were down to come into the studio and sit down and talk to you guys when I was there. Apologize that we couldn't work that out then, but I'm happy to be joining you via Zoom now.
It works, absolutely. Well, we're excited about having you come and play this event. This event is a big signature event for us. We support children in foster care. And I got to tell you, we've been at the Opry last couple of years, and you've played several times when you were there. And we're always looking, we just feel like that 90s country is really our audience. And we've
Right.
had, Billy Dean and Colin Ray and Shenandoah, you name it, and a lot of the 90s hits. And so we were at the Opry and you were playing and you just still sound so good live. And so my husband and I looked at each other, we're like, hey, let's see if he's available.
Hey, let's see.
Hey, let's see if
Well,
he's available.
I'm honored that you would. I'll give you a little something. I'll give you a little tidbit that I don't know that you are aware of, but when they told me that this was for foster children and stuff like that, my family, when I was 14 or 15 years old, we had a foster kid come into our lives that, as a 52-year-old, is still in our lives. We brought him. He came into our family as a 5-year-old, and he's still part of our family to this day. So foster care is something that I'm, very familiar with, and have a very special place in my heart for people that can do that kind of work.
I love that. I love that. So you totally get why we do what we do. That's beautiful.
I do. I do. I do. I can say with 100% certainty that our family would have been very different for the young man that we brought into our family if we had not done that. It was a weird time in my life because I mean I was like just getting ready to get my driver's license. My younger sister was 4 years younger than I am. We sit down and had a kind of a family meeting about this opportunity to bring him into our family, and we did. And like I said, I'm 52 now, and Amy's let's see, 48, and Teo is still a part of our family to this very day.
And I love the way that you look at it as an opportunity because that really it's an opportunity not just for kids in foster care to have homes, but also for families to grow their family in a non-traditional way through foster care. And
Right.
it's
Right.
absolutely an opportunity.
Yeah, I think for us, we were when it came about, when Teo came in. Actually, the way it happened was that he was in a family that was part of our church, and one thing led to another. The family already had two boys, and it was kind of upsetting their sort of natural stage of life.
Yeah.
And my sister and I were a little bit older, and when our family took him in, it was a it was a transition. It was very much a transition for us because we were kind of, as a 16-year-old, you're kind of already on your way out the door. You're making your plans to move on in life, and it gave us the opportunity to do something that we really never thought we were going to have that opportunity. It just sort of arose, and there it was.
I love that. That is so beautiful. And I love that you get it. So let's talk a little bit about your career and what we can expect the night of the show, because I know that you'll
Okay.
be doing some of your some of your hits.
I'm
Can
going
I
to be doing
just
all of the
all of
hits,
the hits? And can I tell you
all of
that
the hits.
the night at the Opry when you changed the lyric in 1980 to something, um, instead of a mortgage and an SUV, a mortgage and
Yeah,
grandbabies, I thought that
yeah,
was so great. I thought that just shows like the circle of life and where you
yeah.
are in life.
Now
I
I got a
just
mortgage. Now I got a mortgage and two
That's
grandbabies.
it. That's
Yep.
it. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, we've my career it's been more than I could have ever really anticipated it being. At the stage where you come in and as a 22-year-old when I released my first song on the radio, you don't really know what your career is going to be. You hope, you have aspirations, you pray a lot that everything's going to do well, and for me, it was it was such a cool time in my life. That '90s country was really hitting hard. I had been performing in the Atlanta area, getting to open for just about every new act that was coming out of Nashville. I mean, McBride and the Ride, of course, Gene Watson was already kind of very well established, but that was like the first show that I ever got to open for, and then, week after week after week, you had brand new act, brand new act, brand new act come through, and that's how I kind of got to cut my teeth doing it. So, in 1996, when my career kicked off, when Jacob's Ladder was the very first song that we ever had on the radio, it was such an amazing time. Got to make a whole lot of friends in the industry, and here we are. This is my 30th anniversary. I've been doing this now for 30 years, which is well over half my life. So I'm a very blessed fella.
And what I love about your songs is you used your position really to be an advocate. You know, the song "Don't Laugh at Me" that was just such
Mhm.
a poignant song, that really became an anthem for so many people.
Absolutely. Don't Laugh at Me was one of those songs that the very first time I heard it, I thought, man, what a great message. And I've talked about this before in different interviews, but the record label really didn't want me to do that song. That was not something that they didn't really want their new heartthrob to take on that type of platform. And I was like, man, you you have to understand that country music is about telling great stories.
Right.
It's about putting things into perspective, and for me, there was really never a question. I mean, that's what I've tried to do. I mean, I felt like Jacob's Ladder was a great story because it told a great story, and I Do Cherish You was a great love song, and Don't Laugh at Me was just sort of, it took on something completely different that than I felt had really been acknowledged much in the country music format.
And does the record label not know that the heartthrob that the women that's totally going to play to the women? So I mean, it worked.
Not Listen, not the smartest group of characters when I was there, and I say that lighthearted. I mean, most of the people that were there in 96, 97, 98, we were all young people. The guys that were doing the promotion team at radio, they weren't a whole lot older than I was. There were some people at the record label that were maybe in their early 30s, but it was a young group of people. And when you're 22, 23, 24, 25 years old, you kind of have your blinders on as to where you think your career is going to go and the direction that you want it to go. And so they weren't crazy about that, but we, in a roundabout way, in a nice way of saying it, we were able to do what we wanted to do, and have some career songs that I truly believe have well outlived what most people think of as traditional country music. That song is 28 years old now, and it continues to live its own life.
So talk to me about how the music business has changed in your 30 years of being in it.
How much time do you have? Uh, the music business used to be about crafting crafting your story, or or becoming kind of defining the lines. I'm looking at the screen here to make sure that I've got the left hand and the right hand kind of going in the right ways, and narrowing what story you wanted to tell. Now there's none of that. Everybody gets famous on TikTok,
Mm.
and and it used to be about your craft. When I was coming up, the people that were being successful, that were in their 20s and 30s, they had played in bands and bars their entire lives. you know uh they had made music since they were kids, and now you have people, and I don't want to say all, but the majority of people now that are coming out into our format now, they sit in the garage and they make music on a laptop. They've never played a show live. They've never performed in front of a group of people. And not all of them, but a large percentage of them. And that makes it hard. That's very one dimensional of what we do. If you live your entire life in the studio and all you ever do is record songs in the studio, when it's time to go sing those songs live, you have no idea what you're doing because you have ample amounts of opportunity to get it right, and tools and toys in the background to make you sound better than you really are. And in today's world, that's a big part of that live performance. For me, we don't run any tracks in our show. We don't run auto tune or any of that kind of stuff to make us sound better. It's all real, and I'm proud of that because that's not the way it is for the majority of the industry anymore. We joke that before there was Pro Tools, there were pros, and that's how we
Love
did
that.
it.
That's right.
And that's still how we do it.
Yeah. By golly, that's how we did it back in the day. That's right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, so let's talk a little bit about the show in Huntsville that's coming up at the end of April. We do have tickets and tables available. Those are selling. Your announcement has certainly upticked on the ticket sales, so we were excited about that. But what can people expect when they come that night to hear from you and your band?
We just have a good time. That's what the music is. I mean, we play the songs that people have heard on the radio since 1996. Everything that was basically a big hit for us, you're going to get to hear that night. But at the same time, it's all interactive. There's a lot of times during the show where I'll say, "Hey, what do y'all want to hear?" We have this or that or this or that, and we play, the hits that are on the radio. And I'll just say to people, "Hey, what do y'all want to hear?" And somebody will holler out something, and I'm like, "Okay, I haven't played that song in 30 years. Let's give it a whirl. Let's see if we can play a piece of it." I love that kind of stuff. I mean, it's great for me. It's great for the band to get that opportunity to do that. And at the same time, you know, I jokingly say this all the time. If it's not fun, I'm not going. So we want to have a good time. We want the people that are there to have a good time. Don't overthink this. It's live music. Yeah, if you're in a bar and everybody's drinking and having a great time, it's a different feel. This show will be probably more of a conservative, relaxed, because I'm sure that if we're dealing with foster care, I'm sure that there'll be people there that have their foster kids with them. I don't know if it's like a family show or not,
Yeah.
but
Some of them,
but
some of them may
we're
bring them. Yeah.
yeah, we're very family friendly. I mean, I've got two daughters and I've got two grandsons. So the crazy side of the music industry for me is gone. I just want to have a good time and play the music and entertain folks that come out to the show.
Now, your band that's with you, have they been with you like throughout it, or have you picked up different players? I mean, how long have you guys been playing
Well,
together?
in 30 years, you definitely have. I don't have any of the original band members that started with me in 1996, but that's not because of anything negative. I mean, people move on in their lives. Guitar players decide, "Hey, man, I don't want to travel 200 days a year. I've got my own kids at home." So yeah, so we are all, this core group, I think we've been together now about 14, 15 years. So I mean, that's
It's
a
a good
long
run.
time.
Yeah.
It's a good run for, for a group of guys that, that I'm the boss and everybody has to put up with me. And, and maybe that says something about me. Maybe it says that I'm not near the moron that I used to be, that I've got a group of guys that have been here with me for 14, 15 years.
Well, we are just so excited to have you come into Huntsville. What would you say um, to anybody out there that's considering foster care adoption? We always try to use our platforms as a way to recruit, our mission and what we're doing. And with your personal connection, what would you say to people out there that are on the fence maybe about it?
I would say that it is the ability to change a child's life. Um, it's an ability, it's an opportunity to change your family's life. Um, I would also highly recommend when you bring somebody in, when you bring a child in that you don't know their background, make sure that you take advantage of the counseling. Make sure that you take advantage of all of the things, all of the tools that are a part of that process. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure, especially if you're bringing a young child in, you want to make sure that you're using those tools to set that child up for success for the rest of their life. Whatever circumstance brought that child into the foster care system, it's typically not a positive. It's not a good thing. The reason that they've been removed from a family is there's something going on. There's been some sort of trauma. There's been some sort of abuse. There's been some sort of whatever. And I highly recommend, that loving a child that you bring into your family is definitely a part of it. But there's also a lot of that they need a lot of help. They need a lot of help dealing with that trauma. They need a lot of help dealing with their past that they may not even realize that they have an issue with.
Mhm.
uh Definitely make sure that you do all that. And then there's some times where you adopt a child that's brand new. It's been born at the hospital and they're looking to give that baby up for adoption or place it somewhere. That's a little different situation, but the majority of children that you find that are going through the foster care system have had some sort of family trauma or something like that. And at least that's been our experience. Use all of those tools that are provided to you to help that child and to also help yourselves, understand where that child's coming from and the issues that they have.
It's almost like you know exactly what we do. You said it perfectly because we do so much work with trauma. Our new mental wellness center that we just opened an expansion last year, trying to focus and meet our kids where they are. We're growing our services into Tennessee, and so can't wait till we get closer up there.
Yeah,
And anyway, who knows how we'll continue to connect and work on this with the shared passion. But Mark, thank you so much for taking a little bit of your time out today. And we look so forward to you coming to Huntsville at the end of April for our annual Denim and Diamonds concert. It's at the Jackson Center. For more information to get tables and tickets, go ahead and get those. Kidstolove.org is the link to get that. We can't wait to meet you in person and hear the show that you and your band are going to bring. And thank you again for accepting our invitation and having a heart and
absolutely.
understanding of what we do.
Well, I apologize to you because when they told me we were going to do a Zoom thing, I thought it's just going to be like a radio call. I didn't realize you were going to be all dressed up, and I'm sitting here in a tour championship sweatshirt that I have and my Grand Ole Opry hat. So I apologize. I,
You're
I
good. You're
promise
good.
you.
Listen, I
I
wore my best
promise
blue
you.
jeans. I'm not too dressed
I
up. You're fine.
I promise you when you show up at the show,
You'll have your
when we're down
stage
in
clothes
Huntsville,
on.
I will be dressed better. I promise.
You're good. You're good. Mark, thanks so much. We'll see you next
Thank
month.
you.
All right.
Absolutely looking forward to it.